Hey my friends, what's going on? It's Ultimus again for you today with another video, and I am crooked in the camera. Let's fix that. Better? A little more center? Awesome. Whatever. We're rolling with it. I was getting ready to order a new mouse and keyboard, and I realized I don't have a video done. So, instead of rolling with the PvP footage that we have been rolling with the past couple of days here, figured it'd be fun to take a break from that and let's talk gear, specifically gear looks, aesthetics, and all of that good stuff. Realize we haven't really talked about that yet on the channel here, and at least to me, gear is super important, at least on a eye candy sort of level. Stats are obviously going to be there. You're going to get the stats one way or the other, essentially. So that's really not. It's obviously important for character progression, but it's almost more important to me that my character looks cool. As sad as that is, like I understand, like obviously the gear is going to be there, and so I'm going to obtain it. I'm going to have the stats, so I'm not too worried about it. But I want to make sure my character looks cool. And as much as I enjoy transmogging, I also enjoying a set for what it is, which is part of why I basically didn't transmog my warrior the entire first season of WoD PvP, because I love that set so much on my warrior. And so I'm really excited to take a look at the Legion sets. Both the, not even necessarily both, but just of course the Mythic, normals, and then some of the other gear as well, as best we can, just to kind of go over that. So hopefully you guys will be in for the long haul for this one, because this one could be a good chunk of time, but hopefully we'll be able to breeze right through it. Of course, I'll share my opinions, my thoughts, and we'll jump right in. But mostly this is just to showcase this for you guys in case you haven't seen it yet. So let's go ahead and jump right in. For starters, we have our Death Knight. Now, from what I've seen already, just from a couple of the other skins rolling through my Twitter feed and things like that, the Death Knight set is hands down one of my favorite sets. This thing is sick. Absolutely sick. Like, just, if you look at this, and they're showing it with the Unholy weapon, and so the color of all that is just going absolutely wonderfully with that. Like, that belt is just savage. The boots, the coloring. It looks almost like an odd mix between, at least to me, the Mr. Pandaria Challenge Mode gear and then the Old War set. It's like a weird merging of that. It's like those two sets meet something Diablo-esque. I just think that is one of the most gorgeous looking sets. Like, and I say gorgeous loosely because it's a Death Knight, so it's actually pretty savage and just brutal looking, just with the skulls and just but even just the detail of like the little details, like the stuff here on the gauntlets, and like the face is a little weird to me. I'm not gonna lie, the face is a little weird, like just the eyeballs peering through there. It's like two little eyes of Sauron or something. I don't know. It looks like, almost looks like two little like cherries or something just chilling there. But overall, like the set, it comes together very nicely. And I think it looks very appropriate. It looks very, very Death Knight, which I'm very, very happy with. Whether or not I'll be playing my Death Knight, who knows, and even if I do, I probably won't ever obtain this because it is a Mythic set, and I believe Mythic and the high-rated Elite PvP gear shares the same skins as well. Don't quote me on don't quote me on that, though, but I'm quite certain it does. But we're looking at here the normal set, so not as extravagant if you compare just the last two. So you got the longer crown there, the horns coming off the side of the shoulder pads a bit more, but other than that, about the same. Like here, the horns are kind of busted, they're not quite as long, the crown isn't quite as big, but either way, I still like it, even as a normal skin. The green is pretty cool as well, and of course the blue, so you're getting Blood, Unholy, and Frost, which is pretty spiffy, if you ask me. And then a little bit of purple in there. I don't know if they always show us like 3 or 4 colored skins, and they don't all make it into the game. So I'll be very, very curious which ones make it all the way in. It wouldn't surprise me if the green set doesn't make it in for whatever reason. Green armors rarely make it in. So I would expect to see the probably the red, the blue, and the purple, as odd as that sounds. But that being said, I'm very, very excited for the Death Knight gear, this expansion. At least so far, it looks very, very good. I'm not going to go over the dungeon sets or the honor sets, anything like that, because that would just be too long of a video. Maybe we'll pull back and we'll do another video going over each of the individual types of gear. But let's move on to the Demon Hunter. I'm not really sure what to expect when it came to Demon Hunter gear. I don't mind the gear. I just don't know if I'm necessarily the hugest fan of it. But at the same time, I feel bad saying that because I also really wasn't quite sure what to expect in the first place. And you know, I was trying to just kind of go into it with an open mind of, let's see what they can do, but I'm not like sold on it necessarily. It's not terrible looking either, but I'm not sure I'm like crazy about it either, if that makes sense. But like again, it's whatever, I guess. And then we're getting some of the other different skins and colors we're seeing on, you know, Night Elves and Blood Elves. I definitely do like the colors over here on the Blood Elf, that red with some of the, like the blues and the purples and stuff like that. I like that a lot better than some of the other colors, the greens and the blues here and stuff like that. And then we're getting a closer, definitely enjoying the skull work there. It's kind of interesting that it wraps around the shoulders to me. And I'm looking like, it's like, I can't tell if those are like ropes, which would make sense, or just odd talons. I don't know. I'm not quite sure what those are. Blizzard is definitely a big fan of the dangly belts, though, that's for sure. Ever since we started seeing a little bit of those rolling out in Mr. Pandaria, we've been going crazy with them ever since then, which I really don't mind. I like the effect. I know a lot of people don't, but I'm a fan of it, so I really don't care too much about that. But yeah, overall, so there's the Demon Hunter gear. Like, again, not terrible. Not really what I was expecting, but then again, though, not really sure what to expect in the first place, so I guess it balances out. It doesn't make me any more or any less excited to play Demon Hunter, because I feel like I'm excited to play Demon Hunter mostly on a mechanic basis. So, because a lot of times for me, visuals affect whether or not I want to play a class, as silly as that is. Again, if a class looks cool, that's half the battle. Like, if they look cool in their armor or with their weapons and stuff like that. Like, if the gear set and the library I have to pick from as far as transmogs and gear comes from, that's half the fun for me. Let's take a look at Druid now. Now, Druid has probably one of the first sets I saw. I think this might have been one of the first sets that they released months ago. And I didn't really feel like doing a video on just one set of armor on a class I don't really play. So I, again, figured I'd wait and hold off until we got as many of the armors out as we could. It's a pretty crazy looking set. Like, you look like the owl stuff going on there on the shoulders, which is cool. Like, I like that work right there, because you have just the solid, obviously the shoulder piece, and then the ethereal, or maybe it's celestial, lunar, I don't know, whatever, effect coming off the side of the shoulders there for the wings, as well as the crescent moons on the side with the angry eyebrows. But overall, the set, I think, does look very, very cool. This set, though, the colors on this one I like a whole lot more. Just those purples and golds and whites and stuff like that blending all together, and it just feels a little bit more moonkin than the red one. Like, the red one is like blood moon status, which works for me, but this is just like, it just feels right to me, at least. Like, I look at this and I'm like, okay, that fits for a moonkin. Now, how much of that gear you're actually going to see? Probably not a whole lot of it, since you spend so much time in boomkin form. But at least you can know your set looks cool. At least to me it does. I don't know. Maybe if you're a moonkin, you're like, this set is dumb. What are they doing? But you'll notice with the crescent moons and stuff going on too, it's going to match the artifact weapon a lot. One thing I did notice with a lot of the colors and skins on these gear sets is they're made to go along with the artifact weapon, as far as different skins and color schemes that are going with these artifact weapon skins. So to me, that makes sense. Like, it's cool that they're making gear that's going to match the artifact weapon, probably as a means to try to entice people to transmog less. Obviously, I feel like there's a lot of work going into these sets. There's a lot of effort going into these artifact weapons, and it would be... No, I'm sure people are going to transmog them no matter what, because, again, you're not going to make everybody happy, but it would be a shame if just about the entire player base still transmogged the weapons and the gear and stuff like that. That's always a bit discouraging, I think. So it's cool to see so far that the stats looking pretty decent so far. And then here we're getting a side-by-side of all four colors, at least so far. So you got a little bit more of a red going on there. So the greens and the whites, and then all those colors. We got the whites and golds and blues, and then a little bit darker colors, almost like a shadowy night bit. So some pretty cool stuff, and then we're getting just a close-up of that color as well. The purple on that isn't bad either. I like that the crescent moons there still stay nice and bright, which is a fun bit there for that. So there's the moonkin set, or the balanced druid set, I should say. I guess it would just be druid, not even necessarily balanced. It's just interesting that I keep saying balance because of the moons. Like, the moons and the owls make me think balanced druid. But I do apologize, because I'm sure, again, this is going to be for all druids. I don't think they're making tier sets for each and every class and spec. So for the hunter is interesting, because at first I saw this and it looked like a triceratops to me. Don't ask. I don't know why I was thinking triceratops. I was like, oh, cool, dinosaurs, triceratops. But then I realized, oh no, that's a skull on the top of there, which is fine by me. And then there's some feathers coming off the back of that. And And again, I'm sure this is to go along with the Windrunner bow, more or less. At least to me, it looks like it's going to match the Windrunner bow quite nicely. How that's going to work out with some of the other artifact weapons, don't really know. But this to me just screams marksmanship hunter. As far as like the colors and aesthetics and the feathers and things like that, it seems like it would match the bow a little bit better. Definitely rocking those Sylvanas colors. Yeah, so heavy Windrunner theme there for sure. I don't mind it though. And then we're getting a look at the red skin there on the Blood Elf Hunter, which is kind of cool. The hood I do like. The hood I do like a lot. The shoulders look really small on Blood Elves though, but they always do. And so we're getting a little bit more of a green or a red color going on here. It's nice and simple. Like, I like it. It's the like bottom end of the pants of like whatever is a little bit weird to me. It looks like they're just wearing like short shorts. That's just weird to me. But again, obviously, like you can tell the skin's different than the skin tone for the elf himself. So it's actually like part of the armor, which is, I don't know, to me, like that two-tone color on the leg is a little bit weird to me. And then the blue I like a lot for sure. I don't know. I just really like that hood. Like the texture on the hood is really cool to me, at least. Because you've seen the stitching on the side there, and even just the way it drapes in front of the face. I think the hood might be my favorite part about that hunter set. That green is cool, actually. It's very foresty, huntery green. I like that a lot. So with the hunter set, yeah, definitely feeling like more of a marksmanship hunter vibe for sure. Hopefully it pairs well with the survival hunter and beast mastery hunter weapons, because that would be unfortunate. And I can't imagine that those are just left behind. That we're not making tiers for just marksmanship hunters, but. Mage, let's look at Mage now. For the Mage, looking at the Mythic set here yet again for the starters, it almost looks, to me, it looks very similar to the cloth sets that were out during Burning Crusade. They were the Brutal Gladiators sets for all the classes, and then I don't remember what tier it was. It might have been tier 5, 6? Possibly for Burning Crusade, but a lot of like the elvish stuff, and again to me that just like, and we get the scrolls going. With the scrolls are kind of a cool touch, but then just like it, just some of the feather work down the side just reminds me. It doesn't obviously stick out as far as the Brutal Gladiator set or the tier 6 stuff, but it just has a little bit of that feel to it for me. Overall, I like it. I think it's kind of cool. The green's a little bit odd to me just because it feels very warlock-ish. But that being said, it's not a bad set at all. Like, I feel like it fits mages quite nicely. Then we got the blue skin to match frost mages, which is kind of the dagger bit there on the belt is really cool. I just noticed that actually. I didn't notice it on this one. I couldn't really quite tell, but with the blue, it stuck out a little bit more, enough for me to notice that. Oh, that's a dagger. So that's kind of cool. What a mage is going to use a dagger for, I don't know, but hey, it's there in case you need to, I don't know, open a letter, get a letter opener on you. You'll never be without your letter opener. I'm tired. I'm stuttering over my words over here. It just like the way like the back of the shoulders come up, it almost looks a little more warlocky than I would care for. But maybe that's just because like most warlock armor is very like obnoxious when it comes to just like stuff coming off the top and the sides of it. But I'm curious too to see what some of the like the animation work is like on the shoulders as well. But again, I don't mind it. Like, the colors are cool for sure. And to match the Fire Mage there's the red. And then I would imagine something to go along for the Arcane Mages. This color is very interesting. Like, I don't know. It just, some of the color choices are odd to me with stuff like this. This doesn't say mage to me, like the colors. And I know this is all just concept stuff for now, so it's not even that big of a deal. But like this color here is more mage-like than this color is to me, at least. It's like, I don't know, unless you're like the autumn mage or something like that, you're like shooting like, bags of leaves at people. I don't know. The green is kind of cool. Again, there's like, so you're not seeing any animation there. I would imagine there would be some animation, but it's just not there for the time being. But overall, the mage set isn't bad. It just, the shoulders aren't, again, the shoulders aren't terrible to me, but they just look slightly more warlockish in animation and stature, except for like that front build there. So it's like a weird like warlock meets mage bit, which makes sense since we're doing Legion stuff, all that kind of stuff goes along with it. So it feels appropriate enough to work for me. But again, maybe my opinion doesn't matter because again, I don't play mage yet. Monk has been the source of a lot of controversy as far as like tier sets and stuff like that. During Mist of Pandaria, it was kind of easy, but all throughout Warlords of Draenor, I personally like the monk sets. I like the simplicity of the monk sets. It fit the monk style very, very well. It was in design practical. It was simple. It wasn't flashy in the sense like it wasn't arrogant. It wasn't pompous. To me, the monk playstyle and class design is very humble but yet effective, and so something practical makes sense. And so I personally enjoyed a lot of the armor skins that came out of WoD for monks. That being said, I don't mind this either. The shoulders are a bit odd for me. This looks like something that I've seen like in a Sonic the Hedgehog game. Like, looks like those little like wheelie like spiky bots that Dr. Robotnik would throw out. Don't ask. But the rope work on it is kind of cool. For whatever reason, like I feel like monks get a whole lot of like rope work on their armor. It's very odd, but again, it's not terrible, but it's odd to me. The tassels there hanging off the shoulder are really cool. I almost feel like they might have been better placed around the belt personally, but again, they're kind of cool, especially because I'm sure they'll like wiggle and jiggle and move around and stuff like that all over the monk's shoulders as we're flying into combat and stuff like that. So the color scheme itself is really, really cool, though, I think. The purple's not bad. The spikes on the hood are a little bit weird to me. It just seems like I love Blizzard so much, but it feels like so often when it's like, crap, what do we put on here? Spikes! Spikes! Go spikes! Anytime there's like empty space, it's just like, throw spikes on it. I can't. Just like spikes everywhere. It's the downside of playing a warrior, just spikes all over your armor. Like, anybody remember Wrathful Gladiator set? Like that whole like warrior PvP set going from like, you know, hateful, deadly, furious, and then relentless and glad, and then wrathful just got more and more spikes. Like the bigger the tier set got, like just the more and more spikes were built on it. It was a little bit insane. It's a cool looking set, but it's just like, simmer down. So for the monks here, it's just funny to me that we're seeing spikes on the helm because the spikes seem a little bit out of place for me. This makes more sense to me, at least the normal set. Just, you know, spikes on the shoulders, fine. It's not that big of a deal. Lost the tassels on the shoulders there, which again goes more for the simplistic look. The shoulders are cool but bulky, which is a bit odd for a monk for me at least. But the helmet I do like, just the simple, straightforward, you know, hood, which I'm a big fan of, especially just bringing the whole set together. And then the belt, of course, I'm imagining that there's going to be some swirly effects going on there in the center of that orb. Don't really care for the color there all too much, personally. This one I don't mind at all. This one feels very Diablo-esque, though, even though I know a lot of Legion is feeling very, very Diablo-esque, so that doesn't surprise me at all. I think the Death Knight set looks the most Diablo-esque out of all the sets we've looked at, though, so far. Like, I feel like that just looks like it screams Diablo, personally. But again, so we're seeing no tassels, lanyards, no tassels, no spikes still for the normal set, which is good by me. Green again, a little bit odd, but overall not a bad set, at least in my opinion. Yeah. And again, it doesn't necessarily make me want to play monk anymore or make me any less interested in them for sure. Paladin, the Paladin. Now this set was changed a little bit from its original concept. Originally there was no kilt, or as the haters like to call it, a dress. It was just regular pants. It was since changed to robes, kilts, however you want to describe it. But this looks, to me, it just looks so very, very similar to the set that came out of Ulduar, which can be hit or miss, but for me, I don't mind. I like the Ulduar set for Paladins a lot. That's actually one of my favorite Paladin tiers. And again, what we're seeing here, just with the Ashbringer, I feel like this is a skin and a picture that shows that these skins are being done in a way for the armor to match a lot of the artifact weapon skins that we're getting, which again is really cool, and it's going to add for a lot of reasons to chase down, I think, those artifact skins so you can get it to match your armor and all that stuff like that. But the helmet is probably my least favorite part of all of it, though. The hood effect on it is really cool. So it's got like that faceplate, and then there's the hood going over top of it. So however much armor actually is going on here, like as far as the head goes, I don't actually know from like a design standpoint. Obviously, it's not going to affect your armor value in game, but just the hood work over top of it is kind of cool. The shoulders are cool as well, but I do like the hood. But all of it, honestly, I would probably say like the faceplate is a bit odd to me, just personal taste. But overall, I do like the whole get up itself. The scales on the robe and the color make me think of Onyxia, though, from like the red and the purple and stuff like that. But again, just me. So we're seeing the same set here on a Draenei male, which is kind of cool that they're showing us the difference. It's always amazing how much bigger like Draenei males are compared to like all the other Alliance races. And then, of course, there's the Tauren, who are just massive compared to everybody. But pretty cool. It's interesting, too, that we're still using the old models underneath it. And then we're getting a more simplified version here, so less floaty discs going on here. Just the hand there in the center of it. Still some cool glow effects. The gold and simple headgear. No hood on that their helmet. So we're getting a concept of kind of what that helmet looks like underneath the hooded robe there, which is fine by me. This one, just like in color and scale work, it looks like the Lawbringer set a little bit to me, just like the gold and then the scales on it and stuff like that. It's like Lawbringer meets the Old War set, which I don't remember what it's called, Conquerors something or other, I don't remember. Green, again, a little weird to me. I would imagine this probably won't make it into game as far as a tier set goes. Again, just feel like the green sets never make it into game. This one is cool, though. That red and then the darker colors with still that gold trim on the outside portions there of that armor. Pretty spiffy, if you ask me. Almost reminds me of the White Ranger. Just in, like, again, with the gold and the white and stuff like that. The red obviously changes the dynamic a little bit. The blue, still looking at that gold, but slightly bluish gold tint there on that rim there. And all of that. But I really, really like the Paladin set as far as how it matches with the Ashbringer. And overall, just reminding me of that Old War set is pretty spiffy. I don't mind this set at all, actually. Like I would enjoy donning this set on my Paladin. I wouldn't mind at all. Priest is probably a lot more elaborate than I was expecting. I was expecting a very simple Priest set, but this actually really caught me off guard. Again, done in such a way as to match the Priest artifact weapons. This screams Discipline Priest artifact weapon. Like, if you guys are unfamiliar with the Discipline Priest artifact weapon, please do feel free to check that out and just compare that to this skin here on this gear, and I think you'll see what I'm talking about. But overall, I do like it. I'm enjoying just like this wax seal there on some of the torn pages and such all over. It looks like a candlestick going on here. Bit odd, but still pretty cool if you ask me. I do enjoy the set a lot, especially because I'm contemplating playing my Priest. Like, the set to me is cool, so I'm really curious to see. Oh, never mind, they did our work for us. So as you can see, there's the Discipline Priest artifact weapon, and so it just goes very well with this set. The robes itself are very simple, but I like it. And then the shoulders are definitely the most elaborate piece about it. Of course, the headpiece as well. But I like just the simple stuff, like some of this stitching there, the cords there that are meant to look like they're holding it all together there at the center there at the chest, the arms there, and of course down by the legs and the feet. Those little details are things that I appreciate personally. And then we're looking at the lower tier, the normal Priest, and this one I actually like just as much, if not more. The cloak covers a little bit more of the head than I would like in the front, just like staring straight on. Almost looks like a weird Penguin meets Venom thing going on here with like the white eyes there and then the black. But like from the side and from the back and everything like that, it looks cool. Definitely enjoying that shoulder work still, all the work that goes on to that. No dangly belt, unless this is the belt. That'd be weird. Interesting. So there's the odd like cream color as well on that one. This color I like a lot. Whether or not it'll actually make it into game, who knows? I feel like this one is more than likely probably going to be the one that doesn't make it into game unless we come across the green one here. No, this one will probably make it too. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, overall I think the preset is pretty spiffy to me. I would be okay wearing it. Like the Mythic set is just amazing compared to the other ones, I think. Which again is a bummer because I'll never actually unlock it because I'm just not that good of a player. But I'm okay with that because people who put time into the game should get better looking stuff, personally. Let's move on to the Rogue. Rogue. Now, I think the cool thing about this, though, initially, I will say I do like the gear. But what I'm enjoying right now with the gear and just the scaling of the models is actually giving us an idea of how big the Rogue daggers are going to be compared to Rogues, which I think is very important. Especially just as a dagger user, like a rogue, it's easy for your weapons to just get lost or forgotten about because they're not as big as a sword or a two-handed sword or an axe. And so it's not as exciting, I don't think, because you don't really see your daggers doing much when you're fighting. And so the fact that we have these daggers that are actually quite big, to me is cool, at least for the rogues out there. Just because I think that was the big concern with artifact weapons was, okay, well, how big are the daggers going to be? And even though there's already been, alpha footage out and stuff like that of gameplay, so this isn't really a new revelation, but it's cool to see it like on paper here compared to, in this case, a human male, how big the daggers are going to be. So they're definitely going to be noticeable, and with the animations and colors on the outsides, I think you're going to be able to see them a little bit more than as if you had just a normal dagger on, personally. All that out of the way, though, let's get back to talking about the tier set. Very sinister, like very, very sinister looking. Like this to me screams assassin rogue for sure. Assassination or subtlety. It's just, to me, it just screams like sinister, heinous, vile intentions. Just like with the cloaked helm there, like you can't even really see that the head. Like even the back over here just like fades into the back of that gear. Almost looks like he has long hair going over the mask. So it looks very just terrifying. I like the helmet and the shield. Like the whole set I really actually kind of like. It's always weird to me that the rogues get such bulky shoulders. I think that's what kills it for me. Rogues, I just feel like it's odd when they get big bulky armor. Like this, as cool as it is, could actually almost pass for a warrior set, almost. Like just as far as shoulders are concerned, because of how big they are, it doesn't make any sense to me that rogues have big bulky shoulders. So again, which I think is a really cool feature that we're getting in the new transmog window and interface, that we're going to be able to hide shoulders, which I know a lot of hunters and rogues are really, really excited about. And so we might see a lot of rogues with this set just making their shoulders there disappear so that they don't throw off the aesthetic of being a sneaky assassin. Looking at the normal set for this one, definitely a lot different than this. I mean, you look at like this, got the same basic principle for that faceplate, but other than that, like you can actually see the character's face underneath it. Like this color though, I really don't like. I'm just not a fan of that purple and green and like odd kind of puke color we got going on there. It's just weird to me. Not my jam. If you like it, sorry, but just not my color scheme. The gold and purple, I don't mind, just not very roguish to me. The purple, I guess, more so than the gold, unless we're like trying out for the Lakers. But the purple feels a little bit more roguish than the gold to me. Gold, I just always associate with priests and paladins. Never really associated gold with rogue armor in any way, shape, or form. The purple works for me because of poison and shadow damage, which rogues do. But yeah, the gold kind of throws it for me. Not gonna lie. I think that's it for the rogue, because we can't click on this link. But I mean, if you guys can see it just real quick. Let's see if we can. Yeah, we'll zoom in real quick. All right, cool. So, getting a different look at a different color skin for this rogue set, but this time it looks like we're holding the Dreadblades, which are the outlaw rogue artifact weapons, and so again we're seeing a very blatant color theme going on here to match the different artifact weapons, and again getting an idea for how big those swords are going to be, in this case in the hand of a night elf female. Shaman is hands down probably on one of my top three for sure. Just look at that set. Like, to me, that's just savage. That's just it. It's almost perfect. It's just got the molten cores. Well, I wasn't going to say molten balls. I don't trust you, Internet. But he's got 2 molten cores on his shoulders. Oh, dear God. But just the molten orbs there on the shoulders there, with the flame effects coming off the side, plus the horns there on the headpiece. The horns on the headpiece are a bit odd to me. I could do without the horns. Like, to me, it's just one of those things that not everything has to have horns and spikes on it. But again, personal preference. Like, it would have been fine without those, but overall, the molten look, very, very cool, especially with the Doomhammer and then, of course, the molten offhand there. But I like that a lot. Color, execution, design, everything. It's just perfect. And then we're getting the other set, which is interesting, too, because you look, there's the flames, and then we're seeing the ice. So I really am curious how many different skins of Mythic gear we're going to get, or top tier, PvP gear we're going to get. I really hope we get a couple of them, simply because I think it does make it more rewarding to be able to have more options like this for like unlocking and stuff like that. And I like different concepts of skins and things like that. Like even looking at like off the shoulders, we're getting the the chains hanging off with the hooks, and then the icicles just freezing off the end of it there. To me, that's really cool. Again, little details like that I appreciate. Still not the biggest fan of the horns there, but again, personal preference. And then just the ice spikes coming off the side there of that shoulder, with the ice along the edges, basically busting up that iron. If you look there, it's like you got the whole iron there on the shoulders, and then the ice is like busting through it. So big fan of that as well. I love the shaman set this time around. And getting a look at all four of these next to each other. The green, again, a bit odd. That looks almost more warlock-ish to me personally. Just the green feels too fel, too warlocky. Warlocky. It's a word now. That feels too much like a warlock set to be worn by a shaman personally. I wouldn't wear that on my shaman. But again, the ice over here, the gold and blue, this feels a little oddly paladin to me. And then again, the molten just looks really, really sick. Almost borderline warrior, not gonna lie, but it's just shaman enough for me to be okay with. But again, I just really like all the shaman sets except for this one. Again, probably I could live without this one. I don't hate it though, if that makes sense either. But I'm digging like the frost wolf or the wolf kind of look there in the center. But just that the shoulder work to me is really, really cool. I like the colors, I like the design. And then we got some lightning coming off this one, which I think is what helps keep it in the shaman family here. Because again, initially it just looks a little too paladinish for me, like I said. But with the lightning shooting off the sides here, I think that redeems it and keeps it in the shaman family. In the shaman family. I'm just saying weird things tonight. But still okay with it. Again, the helmet just almost kills it for me with the spikes. I would like to see something different on the helmet. Not gonna lie. There's the fel, the molten, which I'm a big fan of, and then of course the ice. Just very, very curious how we're gonna unlock these different tier sets, because obviously that's 4 different tier sets there. Are they just gonna be skins we unlock, or are they gonna be actual sets, or is it all just concept and we just haven't decided on which one it's gonna be yet? So shaman set, very, very cool to me, save for a couple particular points on each skin, and the fel skin in and of itself a little too warlock for me. Speaking of warlocks, speak of the devil, because literally warlocks are the devil. Warlocks to me, hands down, have the coolest set right now. Right now it goes warlocks, death knights, shamans. As far as how cool their sets look, I just love how sinister and wicked, I guess just wicked, really, like the warlock set here looks like. To me, that just screams warlock. That's almost like, I feel like the quintessential warlock set is, I think it's tier 4, tier 5, the corruptor set that you farm from Black Temple, tier 5. To me, that's like quintessential warlock set. That screams affliction warlock. That is one of the best warlock sets that has ever come out. And there's been a lot of good warlock sets, but I feel like that set takes the cake. However, this one is eerie. Like, to me, this is just eerie. Like, with the face mask there, it's like a skull thing going on. Looks like it's got multiple eyes. We're seeing some nose holes there and some teeth. Just ugh. And then just like how like the chains, and it looks like there's almost some bone in there, to hold it all together, with the crown saying whatever that is, all hail Sargeras or something like that at the top of the helmet. But it just, to me, this set looks cool. This screams, I'm a warlock, back off. And so that's just really, really cool to me. When a set brings it together and really identifies what your class is, not just in the aspect of looking different and so people know what each tier looks like, but when your set says warlock all over it, or shaman or death knight, you just like, that's a piece of gear I want. That's a set I want. That's going to make me want to go out there and play the game and do what needs to be done to get that content cleared so I can unlock this gear. It's just sick looking. Even the normal set, not as intimidating, obviously, but still fairly cool. The helmet is a bit lackluster to me. It just looks bug-ish. It's like, what am I trying to think of? Obviously, it's demon-y. Demon-y. Wow, we are just killing it with the words tonight. I should really learn to articulate better before I do any more YouTube videos. Holy mother of God. Maybe it's just the green that's throwing me off, and I just don't really like the fel green at all. But the shoulder's very, very simple. compared it to obviously these shoulders over here, which are very, very in your face and not quite obnoxious, but very flamboyant. No, not flamboyant. Flamboyant's not the right word. Whatever. They're better. They're better. This set shoulders are better. There, said it. But again, still feels vaguely warlockish, but definitely would not don that helmet personally. The different color schemes going on there, don't mind that one. That one's a bit odd to me, but still works. Definitely like that color scheme for sure. Pretty big fan of it, but just like that Mythic set is just so good. I can't. It's just perfect. I love it. It makes me want to try to play a Warlock. Except I think I've already sold my heart and soul to a Shadow Priest. Hopefully they don't kill me or turn me over to the old gods, because that would be awkward. But it just goes even perfect with the artifact weapon. Like, I love it. Whoever designed this set, kudos to you in my opinion. You just won 2 internets. And last but not least, Warriors. Now this one's a bit awkward because there is no Mythic set available yet, which is okay, I suppose. I'm very, very curious to see what it looks like because I'm not the biggest fan of this normal set. Not gonna lie, a little bit disappointing. Especially compared to like some of the stuff we got in Warlords of Draenor. I feel like this just misses the mark. It's not enthralling to me. It's not captivating. It doesn't scream I'm a warrior. It just looks like I'm average. I don't know. It just feels average to me. Maybe when I see it in game I'll enjoy it, but just looking at this skin initially, this would be something I would probably transmog. Yeah, not digging that color for sure. The shoulders are a bit odd to me. It's like they're trying to be intimidating, but they're kind of missing because it's like, I know we just got done talking about how funny it is that we just put spikes on stuff that we don't know what to do with it, but it's like, if you're going to put spikes on a warrior gear, let's put spikes on a warrior gear. Let's make it look like we're a friggin' fortress with legs. Just to me, this just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't scream intimidation. It doesn't scream, I'm a warrior, I'm going to chop you up, I'm going to plow through you with my 2 swords and leave you scattered in pieces all over the battleground. This doesn't, it just doesn't do it for me. There's something about it, aside from just being, I guess, bland. Bland is, I think, the word I would best use for it. That feels like the fairest use of the word. It just feels very bland to me compared to the other sets, compared to warrior gear we've seen in the past. It's not the warrior gear I hate the most, but it is far, far from my favorite. So as a warrior, that's a little disappointing. So I'm going to have to find some really cool gear to transmog to make sure it matches with my artifact weapon. Because I actually like the warrior artifact weapon, and I'd like to not transmog it, personally. But I think that's going to do it for this video. I hope that made sense. Please do forgive me for all the dumb speakings and the odd words. I am very, very tired. Weekends always take it out of me, but I wanted to make sure we got a video for you guys up. And took a break, of course, from the normal PvP footage so that you guys don't get burnt out on that. But let me know in the comment section what you think of your class's armor set. Are you excited? Do you not care? Is it okay? Yeah, just let me know what you think. Keep it constructive, I suppose. That's all I ask. Don't think that's asking too much. But, yeah. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I am still trying to get to 500 subs by summertime, so if you have not subscribed and would like to help support me in that goal, please do. For those of you who have subbed already, thank you for your help and your support. It means the world to me. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.